Hello, happy Tuesday. Jeff Denham here. Okay, so the Dino Don specials are on the mill, and I'm going to attempt to get rid of this this wall right here that I had to. If you remember, there was a small crack in between the two cylinders. I probably put excessive weld there, but that's okay. Never can have enough. You can always remove it. So if you don't put enough there, then you have to go back and re-weld it again. So try not to do that. So we're gonna eliminate that, and we're gonna have a nice fresh surface here, and both heads. Then afterwards, I'm going to, if you remember, if you've been watching the videos, I will, okay. If you remember the videos, I haven't put the final bit of the valve job on here, which is the 45, okay? So I'm going to put a slight 45 on it, and surface the valves to my specs basically, and then I will lap the valves to the seat, and then I'm going to deburr all this edge and everything, spark plug holes, put a nice light deburr job on that as well, get rid of those sharp edges. And then I'll put a spark plug in it, and I'll CC each one of the chambers and see. We'll just see how close my eyes are. My 61-year-old eyes are compared to what they used to be. I used to be able to get them without any templates or anything like that. I could get them within usually about 2/10 of each other, all four cylinders. Okay, I've aged a bit, so but my eyes are still pretty darn good. I'm starting to lose it a little bit in my visual. I need to step up and get some really nice glasses, and but anyway, so I'm going to do all that and CC them, and we'll see where we're at. If we're off, say 1 cc from each chamber, that used to be acceptable for some headquarters. 1 cc. I'm going to try to get these. I'm sure Dino doesn't care. Maybe he does. I've gone this far with him. Why not just get them dead nuts, each one? Say I'm guessing right now that chamber. I'm guessing that could have actually possibly in the mid 40s, maybe a little bit on the high 40s. We'll see. In between mid and high 40s. I could be wrong. I hope it's in the 40s somewhere. So again, I originally somebody had whacked the fin completely off. Okay, I did all this gusseting and everything to keep the head rigid. And I was originally saying, oh, these are the high compression heads. Well, they were high compression at one time. Now, of course, he's wants, I think it's 9.5, 10-1. That's what we're shooting for. Hopefully, I got enough volume in here. I really wouldn't like to pull them open anymore, because then that's unnecessary enshrouding. And then my past testing, which was about 30 years ago when I used to use the flow bench on a regular basis, didn't belong to me. I did a lot of flow testing, and I learned a lot. Anyway, that's another story. We won't go into that. Well, I'll tell you right now, and it's not to bash anybody else or anything. A top flow number isn't gospel, okay? It is not gospel. Don't think it is. You know, it's nice to see fairly, respectable numbers, okay? So anyway, the rule of thumb always was years ago, a good running VW head, of course they didn't have the flow benches that they do today, and even the one that I'm thinking of is ancient, and that's the Superflow 650, I think they call it, 600. It's a 25-inch Mercury bench, and my friend Dean Lowry, of course, he used a 110, Superflow 110. That was at 10 inches, and again, it's all just numbers, it's nice to see those numbers when you're doing something brand new. I've done these, hundreds of sets. I've literally done thousands of sets of heads, but not every day does something like this come along, and I get to go crazy on it. And I've done so on these. So. Could these be even better than what they are right now? Yes, they could be, but time is my enemy right now, and I got to draw the line. So I've already given a lot away, and anyway, again, that's another story as well. So 200 CFM was the number back in the day. If you had a set of heads that flowed 200 CFM at, say, 600 lift, that's a good running set of heads. I mean, thing of it is, my best set of heads, and it ran usually, okay, this is the way I see things, and you don't have to quote me on that, but okay, say you're using a 650 Superflow 600, okay, 25 inch at 25 inches. The one set of heads that I did that was pretty incredible back in the early 90s, those flowed 185 CFM at 600 lift. Okay, 185. It should make 185 horsepower. Well, it ended up making 220 horsepower. Okay, so you can't really take the flow figures because a combination could be way off. Wrong cam, wrong exhaust, compression. To me, of course, well, not of course, compression isn't what gives you all your horsepower. Anyway, it gives you, to me, more torque than horsepower. So yeah, those heads flowed 185. The engine made, like I said, 220 on pump gas. And so anyway, also too, I flowed a good friend of mine's set of heads, and his chambers were cut real low. I mean, in the 30s, 30 cc's. Yeah, that car ended up running 1160s at 117 miles an hour in a fully weighted car. Those heads flow 200, right at 200 CFM. Okay, and they have tiny little exhaust ports, dinky little exhaust ports, not massive like we'll just say the guy in Riverside, the famous dude in Riverside. Okay, his exhaust ports were always big, the heads that I see. Okay, so these are actually, you know, because they were already ported and I was just trying to fix what was there. So anyway, I'm hoping, you know, it'd be nice if they flew, you know, 185, you know, 190. Maybe they'll flow 200. Who knows, you know? And I'm really not worried about that, you know? That's one thing the younger generation shouldn't get, I guess you could say, brainwashed on, because really, well, in my opinion, those numbers mean nothing, you know? Flow isn't everything, all right? Remember that. It's not, all right? It's not, yeah? Airspeed has a lot to do with it as well, yeah? So, anyway, okay, so we're going to get rid of this. Well, I'm going to attempt to slowly cut this and get him back to the 94 millimeter original, and we'll go from there. Alrighty, thank you for watching, and have a wonderful day. I'll do a time lapse on this particular stuff here, so you're not bored with me going in there for 40 minutes chopping away. So, all right, take care. Thanks for watching. All right, bye bye.